fund, but we have 2 other funds in the region, in Thailand, in Vietnam, and we have other funds across the globe as well, in Korea, Japan, Middle East, Turkey, Latin America, and a few in the US as well. So we've invested across 2.3K portfolio companies across the globe, in about 75 countries. Next. Next. So we're not just about, when you look at the other slide, you see like 2,300 companies, right? So we're not just about investing in, large volume of companies. I think we have a bit of a decent track record as well. So as the group, we have about 16 unicorns as a whole. So for most of you who doesn't know what a unicorn is, it's a company that's valued more than $1 billion. So we have 16 of those, and out of the 16, 3 is in Southeast Asia alone. So companies like Grab, Canva in Australia, so like Carousel, we were one of the earliest institutional investors in those companies because we primarily do on seed. And outside of that 16 unicorns, we have a total of close to about 80 plus centaurs. So centaurs are companies that are valued around 100 mil to about 1 billion valuation. All right, next. So we're actually not just in investing, we're actually beyond the whole venture capital. So as a whole, we have divisions that's contributing to the ecosystems as a whole. We run accelerators program all around the world. We conduct education programs where we partner with some of the top business schools, such as INSEAD, Stanford and Berkeley. We do corporate innovation services for large clients such as GS Shock, General Motors, Bank, which is the largest bank in Russia, Mitsubishi, and recently Petronas and UNDP. Right, next. So, if you ask what's the future of venture as a whole in Southeast Asia, so for me, being in 500, investing in a lot of companies and seeing a lot of these growth, the future is actually bright. So I'll go into details and why I believe so. Next. So the first key indicator is actually where Southeast the region's internet economy will grow along with the booming middle class. The number of Southeast Asian internet users, as you can see here, grew by 2x between 2014 to 2019. And you see an increase in online spending will grow by 3.3 times between 2018 to 2025. So the third graph here, what you see is where it shows the indication of where actually the market is still underserved. So like here, it shows the number of internet users as a ratio of the total population. So in the US, you can see that it's very much fully served in the sense where it has hit its peak at 97%, and China and Southeast Asia is still weighing around that 50+%. So that shows that there's a lot of ample room for it to grow before it hit its fullest potential. Next. So with booming middle class, this will demand for more digital-based products and services for both consumer and businesses as well. So if you can see the first slide, the first graph here, China and Southeast Asia grew by 3x as compared to US GDP. As I showed in the previous slide, the market is still underserved for both China and Southeast Asia. So on the third one, you can see that there's 203 unicorns in total in the US itself. But if you compare the number of internet population for China and in Southeast Asia and US, it's relatively about the same. So one might argue where US itself is a very large single market, right? But then again, Southeast Asia is, you see larger venture-backed companies being regional players such as your Grab, your Lazada and Ninja. So with that, it shows that there's more unicorns that will be popping up from this region, and the demand is actually inevitable. Next. So the demand of signals of unicorns to come is apparent, but without supply of capital, these companies can't grow fast enough in competing with global companies. So these graphs here, as you can see, these are actually venture capital funding as a percentage of GDP. So out of these three markets, you can see that Southeast Asia grew the most by 3 times, and they grew by 2x as compared to the US. So this indicates there's an influx of capital that's pouring into Southeast Asia. So this will provide the needed war chest for this new upcoming unicorns to actually grow further. Next. So now let's talk on speed. Speed of growth. Companies are becoming unicorns quicker. As you can see, as reflected in China and the US, and Southeast Asia is actually mirroring that growth. Companies are becoming unicorns quicker. As for example, like Tokopedia, it took them only 7 years for them to actually be a unicorn. Gojek took them 4 years, and Grab 3 years. So with companies becoming unicorn quicker, with a lot of capital to play and continuous demand for growth, this will provide more liquidity into the market for mid-sized startups to actually be acquired. So with this, you'll provide more liquidity to the entire ecosystem. Next. So let's talk a bit on financing. Southeast Asian companies are not only being backed by the region's local investment firms, but it's also, you can see a lot of foreign capital capitalizing on ASEAN itself. So you can see here, you have large venture capital firms coming from Korea, China, and UK, all the way to Germany, pouring capital into Southeast Asian companies. Thanks. So here's a little prediction that was done by Bain Consulting. So they predicted about 10 new unicorns by 2024. So if you combine foreign capital providers plus Southeast Asia's late-stage capital providers, this will provide enough vitamin M, which is vitamin money, for these companies, these next 10 unicorns to actually grow. Next. So the traditional model has been always where taking proven business model from US, China, and other parts of the world and reproducing it into Southeast Asia. So you can see where you have the Uber and Lyft in the US, you have Didi in China, then you have Grab and Gojek. Grab is a 500 company. So commerce, from Amazon in the US, then you have Alibaba in China, then you have places like Bukalapak in Indonesia, and Lazada, and so on. Next. So, taking proven business models, unicorn business model in other parts of the world and putting it into Southeast Asia's landscape seems to be working. But there's a new move of new type of companies that's paving the way. So these are your deep tech companies. So what are deep tech companies? These are companies that are actually providing new breakthrough technology that is not only solving Southeast Asian problems, but then again, taking the solution and providing it to the global market. Next. So here, as you can see, these are some snippets of the partners of the fund in talking about deep tech companies. And this indicates our belief and our confidence in actually investing into deep tech companies. Right? Thanks. So when you talk about the topic of deep tech in the region, Singapore seems to be paving the way. So why? Actually, there's 3 main reasons. First is actually talent and research. You have a lot of global talents from Iran, from India, etc., that are flying off all the way to Singapore's universities and building up their PhDs there. So from here, their research are actually spin off to become standalone companies. Second catalyst is where there's a very large accelerator company called Entrepreneur First. So they focus on just deep tech companies, and their Southeast Asian unit is actually based out in Singapore, and they are actually the key supplier of deep tech companies in this region. They focus on more, their model is actually focused on actually talent first. So the third catalyst is where the larger corporates, because these deep tech companies, they can't survive without any form of actually proof of concept, POC. So we see that a lot of these larger corporates, which are mainly having their regional HQ based out in Singapore, are actually taking bets and actually collaborating and working with these startups to solve their pain points. Next. As a summary, these are my 5 key takeaways. Booming middle class will create the demand. Influx of capital will actually provide the supply of war chests for these companies to grow. Companies are growing, becoming unicorns even quicker. So this will actually provide the liquidity into the market. Financing is not only coming from local investors, but foreign investors are actually pouring gasoline into this region. So not just copycat models, but then again, this new business model, which is your deep tech companies that are making its way. Next. So you can see here, in the center is what we believe as what Southeast Asia is right now. And the larger circle represents Southeast Asia in the next coming years. So with that, we believe that we should all actually be hopeful, and the future is actually bright for the ecosystem.